Oh, it's good to be back. I needed this time of fellowship together and that praise and worship. Love spending about a week with the grandbabies. Well, two of the grandbabies. Didn't get to see them all, but glad to be back. Glad for that time of worship. I think it was last night. It was either last night or the night before. Lee and I were looking at some video reels, just hanging out together. And there was this one where some Christian podcaster or media person of some kind, I don't know, I didn't recognize him and I don't remember the name, was doing some sort of interview with, at the very least, kind of goth girl, if not. I really got the idea from some of what she was saying, some of the way she was dressed, that she was pagan, because she looked like a lot of my friends, or some of my older friends anyway. A lot of them are still current friends, but anyway. She was having a real hard time with Christianity. And partly when she finally expressed her biggest objection, it really wasn't the rules. It wasn't that she wasn't going to be able to have her fun or any of that kind of thing. It was really something very true and very understandable. She couldn't wrap her head around the idea that all she had to do was believe. There was so much evil in the world, and she knows, you can tell by the way she's talking without admitting to being wrong in any way, that there's something wrong with her and all of us, that with all the evil people do in the world, to be able to live like that and then stop and go, my bad, never mind, I'm sorry, I believe this, so it's all good. It's way wrong, way too simple, way too easy. It's not right. And in a very true sense, it's not. It's absolutely not right that every single person who has ever shredded my life can just go, will you wipe my slate clean? Can I have a restart? And get it. It's not right that I can say, forgive me, and that be enough for all the damage I've done to all the people I've hurt over my life. And thinking that way is true until you realize that it's a misunderstanding of what happened. Because it's not that you just get to believe the right thing and get a get out of jail free card. You have to believe the right thing, and part of that believing the right thing is that somebody, namely God, wrapped himself in flesh to become like you so that he can endure more than you will ever endure in the way of condemnation and guilt and shame and alienation from God. And how does that happen? Hey, that's a good one. I'm not going to go into too much. But Jesus had a separation from the Father, though the Father never rejected him. And he knows what it feels like for us not to be able to have that. See, it's not just say the right mantra, repeat the right words. The way she actually put it was, believe the right thing and say some prayer. Well, the truth of the matter is, while I don't have a problem with the sinner's prayer, because if you mean it when you say it, you've done what you need to do, there's nothing in Scripture that says pray to get saved. You realize you can actually become a Christian without praying. You can't walk as a Christian without praying, but you can become one because it takes belief, and you don't necessarily have to pray to God to confess that He's Lord. See, 1 Corinthians 1:18 tells us, "For the word of the cross is folly to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God." The word of the cross is not just, hey, there was an excruciating way to die and some man named Jesus was killed that way by the Romans. It's nothing really foolish about that. It's the whole aspect of it. It's that God would become man. It's that God would die in our place. It's that death would actually, truly be just and fairly give us the opportunity to receive mercy from God and be clean. That's the power of life. That's awesome. I remember in the 90s when the Mapplethorpe photos, all the information blew up about him because he did some photographs with some pretty blasphemous stuff with the crucifix and some things that he did with it. What happened Friday night with the Olympic opening ceremonies and the blaspheming and the ridiculing of the Last Supper is not anything new at all. The cross is foolishness. Well, the Last Supper's not the cross. Yes, it is. It was him preparing to die, verbally speaking to his disciples about what's going to happen and the significance of it, and giving them a way to remember his broken body and spilt blood on our behalf, which is the cross. I don't want to get political here, but if you only look at certain media sources, you will think the whole world is agreeing with it. And us poor Christians are the only ones who are being persecuted, and that's not true. There are a lot of people upset about this, and not just Christians. Believe me, they also offended every practicing Jew and every Muslim on this planet that really believes what they say, even though they're not offended about what it says about Jesus. There were still things in there that are, but we don't need to think this is something new, and we don't need to think that anything's changed really, and we don't need to get mad at the people because they don't understand. The cross is foolishness. It's ridiculous because they're perishing. We said we wanted to be more like Jesus. We asked for his holy passion as we sang this morning. You understand what that means, right? His holy passion was that he, for the joy of the result of what would come out of it, gladly laid his life down for every single person who had a part in that decision, who participated in putting it on, who clapped for it, applauded for it, praised it, enjoyed it, wanted it. Every single one of them. He's not sitting back there going, yeah, you just wait. In 10 or 20 years, I'm going to get each and every one of you. You're going to have your day. No. He didn't want any to perish. He poured out his wrath on Jesus so he wouldn't have to pour it out on them. That is the power of life behind the cross. Communion is an honor. It's a privilege. It's not a break. It's not intermission. It's not an empty ritual. It's not just something that we do every week. It's remembering the power of life for us that came because he was broken and poured out on our behalf. And that's what we remember when we partake of the Lord's Supper.